We'd like to welcome you to the Donnie Glover Show. Top of the morning to you. Oh my goodness. We're back and at it. We have with us today Lisa Phillips. And if you're here in the city of Baltimore, you need to know, by the way, I got to show off my gear. This is from a team lead, being more optimistic and righteously endowed. You get that? Be more. And it's important that people see that because in the hat. Because Lisa, when we first started BmoreNews.com back in 2002, people said the name was, they had some comments about the name Be More.
Right.
Now we got Be More everything.
Yeah. They just had to catch up to it.
Yeah, it's a reminder that if God gives you the vision, you better go forward with it. It might take the rest of the people 20 years to catch up to you.
Yeah.
But everywhere you look today, you got Be More lifestyle television show, BmoreDog.com. Yeah. But when we first came out with it, they had some negative things to say, and I'm just going to leave that right there. But anyway.
And you're a trailblazer. So, you have to blaze a trail and you have to believe in it so much that you're willing to walk along with it. Even when I started my program back in 2014, everyone told me that, I'm wasting my time. You have to offer a training that certifies people and, worrying about workplace behavior, that's no big deal. But no, one of the reasons I have a vast pipeline to employers is because a lot of the behaviors that are not workplace appropriate are spilling over to the workplace. And so I remember when people told me, oh no, you're wasting your time. Why are you focusing on people's behaviors at work? That's not going to get them any, they need a certification to get any money. But I know a lot of people with a box of certifications but can't get a job.
I know people with a bunch of degrees.
Yeah, they haven't.
I know people with a bunch of degrees with no common sense.
Yes, exactly. And so I had to hang in there, and I probably gave away more trainings before I finally, was able to. I teach my students that you need to share your gift before you profit from it. And I shared my gift a lot, before I got the attention of people that say, oh, there's something to this. And now I'm in 3 states now. My training is in Delaware, Pennsylvania, and Maryland, because behavior, it really, it will either positively impact the productivity of a company or negatively impact the line of productivity of a company.
Why don't you put something behind? Can you just prop up your device so you ain't got to keep moving?
Oh, is that better? Yeah, I need my 10-year-old grandson to help me.
I know the feeling. How you been dealing with COVID? How have you been?
So I'm very blessed that I work from home, but I was already working from home because of when I started kind of expanding to the different states, when they shut down the University of Baltimore, which is typically where I teach my classes. But you have to pivot in life. And I was able to effectively pivot to an online platform. And it actually helped my business because I had a further reach. It enhanced and it increased my reach.
So let's get to it. Do you have some jobs?
Oh my goodness, yes.
What you got?
So one of the collaborations that I'm very proud of is my collaboration with all of the hospital systems. However, it's your approach to work that is going to help you secure a job. So one of the things that employers find appealing about what I do is that I get students ready for work. And, getting ready for work means that you're mentally ready for work. We understand you have bills. We understand you need, money. However, work is designed for you to go into a company or organization and make a difference, They know that they're going to pay you because it's the law that they pay you. However, I tell my students that in order for you to get paid and get paid well, you have to build value. You have to either save that employer money, cause that employer to be more profitable, or give that employer more presence in the community. And if you don't have that in your mindset, you're going to just be bouncing from job to job to job and never experience stability.
So I hear you saying something along the lines of Rick Warren's book, Purpose Driven Life.
One
I,
of my
I
favorite.
also I also hear you saying a little of what I heard just yesterday from Tony Robbins, in that for those that have a business, if your goal isn't to help make life better for someone else, you can focus on profit all day long, but you've totally missed the boat.
Yes. So I teach my students that you have to be about mission over money. Because if you're about mission, the money comes. You know, December is a tough month for families because they are pressured about the holidays, and I understand. I get it. I have three, kids and two grandkids, and so I get it. However, one of the things that I share with my students is that when you have the mindset that you're going to make anything that you touch better, it's going to get the attention of people. And so I had about 5 students that really did so well in their training program. And so on December 1st, I paid their rent. And so because their performance improved the strength and they strengthened my brand, because the tools that they use to do so well in their training program, it came from my readiness program. And so, I help students to understand reciprocity. So my job is to reward them for their performance. And one of the things that I help students to understand is that, I hear students always, I don't make enough money. I don't make enough money. I don't have any help. And one of the things I tell them, I say, okay, so you don't have anybody helping you. So do you raise your hand to help others? Because in
Woo!
order to get help, you have to be a help.
Ho, ho. Say that again.
So I get a lot of students that, they say, oh, I don't get any help. Nobody helps me. And one of the things that I tell them, I said, okay, so you have nobody to help you, but do you raise your hand to help? Do you know how many people on your block that are retired, that you knock on their door and say, hey, I'm going to the pharmacy. Can I pick up a prescription for you? Can I pick up a bottle of milk for you? In order to get help, you have to be a help.
Lisa,
And
you act like you've been through something in life.
oh, yes. One of the reasons why I'm successful is because I learned how to fail up.
You learn how to do what?
Fail up. So people don't understand the power of failure. Failure is designed for you to make changes. If you lost your job because it's your way or the highway, you have to examine that ideology and have to understand that, we all have to play nice in the sandbox. And I tell my students, if your boss came in with pink slips, how can you shore up that your name is not on one of them? And the way you shore that up is, have I done my level best to make this company better? Or did I just come and make it transactional? I always tease my students and say, some people treat work like it's an 8-hour prison sentence. Yeah, I'm just here to do my 8. And, no, that's not what work is. When you go to work, your attitude needs to be, okay, I don't know what my day is going to be, but I know that I'm going to make sure that I make a difference at my workplace. And I don't care if you let somebody have a parking space. And you're right, it's driven from my own failures. I mean, um, I always tell people that I'm the best of both Baltimores. My first 25 years of life, I was a drain on the city's resources. I thought it was all about me. And and my life started to look that way. And then I dedicated the second 25 years of my life on how can I make my life better. And when I focused on making their lives better, then that's when things started opening up for me.
So we've just been joined by a famous Baltimorean. His name is Gregory Branch. How are you, Gregory?
I'm doing good, Donnie. How you feeling?
Good. This young lady, Lisa Phillips, has the audacity to be out in the streets of Baltimore helping people to get a job. Can you believe that?
Oh yeah, I can believe it. You can look at I watch MSNBC and look at the rates. It's very, very low. All the people don't have jobs.
Well, one of the things that I love so much about this country, one of the things I love about this country is this country and our government, they take care of our workers. And so you'll hear in the next week or so some, um, some strategies that's really going to help families immediately get back to work, because helping the families and helping people love work is pride. Work is, when you are the provider. That's why my company is called Celebrate Us. It's a celebration when you can provide for your family.
Oh,
And
definitely. I totally agree.
So, Greg, one of the entities that you help, particularly in East Baltimore, you're a big fan of the B. Gaddy Center.
Yes.
And then also you
national,
push, would you say, Lisa?
that's a treasure.
Oh, yeah, a national treasure, no doubt. But he also has a tally ho. Tell us about tally ho, Greg.
Well, Tally Ho is a I have a Dale Tally Branch Foundation, and what I do is I do things like the I feed the homeless in December, Christmas Eve. So I go down under the bridges where a lot of the people who are homeless can't leave their areas and bring honestly the food to them. And last year, I think I gave some like 3 to 4 thousand meals away. So that plus I have a Legends game that's in August that's up in Madison, and Donnie participates, and all the Legends of Baltimore come and play. We have anywhere close to the 8 to 9 to 10 games that day, and everything is free.
Nice.
So how do we, we got a new mayor coming in.
Mm-hmm.
Unemployment, not just the regular unemployment, but now with the addition of COVID, even more people unemployed, even more people in need of food. Lisa, Greg, how do we save our community, even in the middle of COVID?
I think when you got guys, you have people in the world like Cynthia with B. Gaddy, and every little bit helps. So, you would think that with the mayor actually seeing all these people coming together to do what they can do, it's something that they should see, and especially the politicians. All the politicians see and know what's going on, especially in this city. So I think we have to definitely let the politicians know that, you have a lot of people, every little bit help, and a lot of people should be coming together to try to conquer this problem.
How about you, Lisa? Your thoughts?
So my thought is, number one, whether you voted for our new mayor or not, we all need to rally behind him and his success. And while we all can't save the world, we all can do something. And so one of my 2021 strategies is to help our returning citizens behind the wall, because it's one thing to help the people that are already here, but you have a lot of people who are returning to our community who just don't have the support, the resources. I always tell students that are justice involved that you can't let your record be bigger than your dream, because if you dream about something and you want something, you have to turn your past into a pebble, because you can't carry around a big boulder, a big rock. And that's what a lot of our citizens do. You know, they make mistakes in their lives, and they carry that burden instead of focusing on what they dream about at night. They focus on what they've done. And so one of the things that I try to do is inspire, people. I was the laughing stock of my family. It's so funny. I'm getting married December the 18th.
Oh,
And
praise the Lord.
and so I've been Phillips for 30 years. I've been Phillips, and I didn't always bring honor to that name. When my ex-husband and I got divorced in 2006, I told him, I said, I'm going to restore honor to the Phillips name. And on December the 18th, I'm going to be giving him back that name with honor and distinction, with all my mistakes, with all my challenges. But what I've been able to do through helping others is shrink my past down to a pebble, because you can't carry around a big rock, but you can carry a pebble, which means your past never goes away, but you don't let it define you anymore. You don't let it, drive your movement. And one of the things I love teaching my students is you got to move like you're successful. A lot of our residents are depressed and they're downtrodden, but there's so much to look forward to. However, you have to see it before it happens.
Greg, you're straight out of East Baltimore. Some of my fondest memories are there: Patterson Park and Lambville, North and Greenmount, then finally going to Dunbar. I remember when we went to Dunbar and we would practice football over on Sugarcane Field.
Mm-hmm.
Right in the backdrop was a long line of prisons: Diagnostic, the Penitentiary, City Jail, Central Booking, Supermax. And I remember as a young man, in the back of my mind, you don't want to go over there. But if you grew up in East Baltimore, you see these prisons in front of you every day. And you know people in your own family, on your own block, who are in these prisons. I wanted to ask you, Greg, how is it growing up in East Baltimore, considering we're in a country with only 5% of the world's population, but we have 25% of the world's inmates, 44% of whom are Black men, and Black women are the fastest growing demographic?
Well, first of all, what Lisa was talking about earlier was the truth. With me, everything starts with a dream. And as a
Yes.
kid, I had dreams. There were things that I wanted to do. And like Donnie said, with those prisons and all of that, and I'm actually seeing people who were my childhood heroes, and I'm watching them going to jail. I'm watching them taking the drugs. Basically, they were basically telling me, especially during our time, don't do as I do. Or like you say, the older people would kick us and tell us to get away. I better not catch you around here. So the thing is, they taught me right then and there that if my heroes couldn't beat that, then why do I think I could do it? So it kind of stirred me away from being down in that area, looking at that at negativity, and only dreaming and thinking what I could do. And believe me, there was a lot of people who told me, like Donnie already know, that you can't do this, you can't do this, you'll grow up and never be this. And this is what I constantly heard, that negativity all my life. But once I got to Dunbar, came up with a lot of people, talked to a lot of people who were positive, who were steering me in the right way. They took me away from all of that. And like Donnie say, especially my mom. My mom was a single person who took care of her children and did it alone. And she did it. She was my rock. And to the day, she's my rock and kept me away from all that craziness. So, I mean, I totally see Donnie. This is something that we saw every day, walking to school, going everything, seeing all that negativity. And some people don't see it, and then some people do. And I saw it as a way of staying away from that kind of negativity.
Both of you have alluded to the mental health of our community? Whether it's prison, whether it's homelessness, whether it's drug addiction, whether it's single mother, single daddy, heartbroken, drug addicted. What is the state of our mental health in the community today, Lisa?
So one of the things that we have to do is we have to not dwell on our past, but we at least need to acknowledge where the source came from and make sure that we educate ourselves on how we got here. We grew up, Donnie and Greg, with what goes on in this house stays in this house. And that was a disservice to us. So there are a lot of traumatic things that happen inside the home. And you were just taught to keep your mouth shut. But the problem is when you keep your mouth shut, a child that was traumatized becomes a teenager that was traumatized. And then that teenager that was traumatized, and without professional help, you have you're expecting adults to function properly when there was a seed of trauma planted in them years ago that was never treated. And so I think that we have to understand, and we have that's why I openly talk about I have a son, that struggles with schizophrenia. It's a very messy illness, mental illness, but schizophrenia is brought on by trauma. No child is born schizophrenic. No one is born schizophrenic. Schizophrenia comes, my son he's petite and small in stature, and he kept getting robbed. And he got robbed at gunpoint, and it traumatized him so much at age 21, it sent him into a form of schizophrenia. And so what we have to do is we have to educate ourselves on the mental health, and we have to reach out, to mental health professionals. I always post a picture of me when I graduated from Compton State University, and I have a picture of me with my therapist. And because therapy does not mean that you're crazy. Therapy means that you need an answer to your behavior. You need an answer from a trained mind on why do you do the things that you do? Why do you cry easy? Why do you go from 0 to 100 in 4.3 seconds? There's a source to that. That comes from a source. And so we have to be courageous and understand that, I tell my students that when I turned my life around, I signed up for a workforce training program, which is why it's so dear to me. But the second thing I did was go to counseling because I needed answers to my behavior. And until you educate yourself on the power of what we do everything else. We maintenance our cars, we maintenance our house. If it needs to be painted, we'll paint the kitchen, but you need to maintenance you. And mental health and therapy is necessary for growth. You can't grow if you've lost 2 or 3 jobs because of your anger. And you can't continue to use excuses. Well, people just make me mad. Okay, that's not a viable excuse. One of the things that we are in more control than we give ourselves credit, but it takes effort, and it takes being able to work on something, and it takes, the awareness. You need to understand that you've already lost enough because of your attitude. You've already lost enough because of anger.
Greg, let me jump in here. You've played with major league athletes. As a professional athlete, do they go through mental health issues as well?
Oh, yes, they do. And I'm going to tell you the reason why, where it started. And you know yourself, Donnie, the word mental health, that's in the hood is a sign of weakness. That's how I was taught. And no one wanted to talk about that. And it wasn't until I went to Iraq. And when I went to Iraq and came back home, and don't get me wrong, the hood prepared me for going to Iraq. And I'm thinking that I'm strong. But when I came back, there was things that I saw and I did over there that constantly bothered me.
Hold on, Greg, you're opening a chapter that's totally foreign to me. You're a veteran?
Yes.
Greg, I never knew you were a veteran.
Your service.
Yes. I went to Iraq. When I came back from Iraq, Donnie, I thought I was okay because the hood prepared me from seeing so much stuff that I thought I was all right. But when I got home, on top of my wife dying 6 months after I got home immediately, that bothered me and it triggered something. And that's when I knew that mental health, that was a problem. And I had to go see someone. And that's when I knew that I had to go see someone to talk to someone. And that's how I got the real understanding that what I was taught as a young kid, that mental health was something that you didn't talk about. To everybody needs a therapist every now and
That's
then
right.
to talk.
That's right.
Everybody.
Everybody. I got
That's right.
multiple therapists. Matter of fact, we just lost one, Dr. Patricia Newton. I don't know if either one of you knew Dr. Patricia Newton, but she was an icon here in the city of Baltimore. She was best friends with Dr. Francis Cress Welsing, who talked so much about post-traumatic slavery disorder and how we are disaffected by what happened 200, 300, 400 years ago. I mean, we see it today.
Yes.
Baltimore is majority Black. We got a majority of Black elected officials, yet East and West Baltimore look like a bomb went off. And so there's something fundamentally crazy about that. If you got the key to the door and your people ain't going through that door, that's crazy.
Right.
Right. Right. Well,
Baltimore
it
is
goes.
meant, and let me give you one more thing, Lisa Phillips, because I see you like to take over the show. White people need therapy too. You can
Yes.
get all of the Black people in Baltimore therapy, but if you don't get the white community therapy, and if you think they don't need therapy, you lost your mind. Did you see these Trump supporters? Who could support a nut like that unless they crazy?
I totally agree.
Half of the country is off its rocker.
Well,
I'm sorry.
you have to understand that when there's a disruption to your norms, you know,
Some
if
people
you're
never had a damn norm, Lisa. Stop playing. And some people grew up. Look, I'm gonna tell you this, Lisa. I've met a lot of women. Women, Greg, have dealt with so much trauma that we as men have no idea about. Going back to when they were little girls, and somebody
right,
told them, "Don't sit on no man's lap."
Right.
And that was sad because you got some freak pedophile family members
True.
who
oh,
have
no.
assaulted, molested these little girls and little boys too.
That's right.
Well, once it goes back to what goes on in this house stays in this house, and that
No.
trauma it's very damaging, because every day we are all getting older, and so if you have a 9-year-old that was traumatized and now she's 23 and never dealt with that trauma, but now
They've repressed it.
you're right, David, right, and you're asking them to act like a responsible adult now,
And
and that's
so
not
they're
realistic.
repressing it. And in Baltimore,
Right.
that means the liquor store, that means
Yep.
Molly's, Coke, Dope, Ready Rock,
Yep.
or whatever
Yep.
else. Percocets.
Yep.
Greg,
Because they want to be numb. They want to be numb to it. But
Right.
escape.
guess what happens when all that wears off? You still have to live. You still have to work and be productive. And I tell my students that you can't behave the way you want and then expect somebody else to care for you. If
Lisa, I want to get to some solutions. What do you have for people right now today? Why should they call you?
Well, they should call me because I swear I am the billboard of what happens when you get the help you need and what happens when you don't.
So
When
what do you
get
have
the help-
today? I need to know what you have available today.
So if you're talking about mental health,
No jobs.
jobs definitely. We have a lot of collaborations, and so I have more jobs than I do people to fill them. However, I don't just send people to jobs without them being ready. And so you have to sit and you have to learn on what the meaning and the purpose of work is. Because the
Hey,
bottom
listen,
line,
you trying to make this clean. You got to make sure they got some home training before you send them out there representing your company. Because if they go out there and represent your company and make you look bad, there's going to be a problem. And you might be tempted to pick up that phone and call somebody and say, go fix them. Is that right? They represent you. I don't give,
yeah,
hey, listen,
they are.
Lisa, they are family members. I do not give a job reference to. What?
No, I mean, you're right. They're represented, but I want them to represent themselves more so than represent me. You know, one of the things that I tell my students, you can't take your children where you've never been. So if you've never experienced stability and experienced responsibility, and now you got, you know, you should offer your kids more than your ability to cook a good dinner and teach them how to, do something recreational. No, children need to be taught how to take care of themselves, and how to care for themselves, because the shortest stretch of your life is your childhood. You're not going to be a child long. And before you know it, you're going to be of an age where you have to take care of yourself. Yes, you need a job, but you need to know how to scale, because
Greg, we were talking. I'm sorry. Go ahead, Lisa.
no, the only I can give you, I have jobs to give people, but if they're not mentally ready, and if they go in with the expectation that this job needs me and I don't need it, and so I really focus on a person's mindset and the importance. So anybody can call me if they want a job, but you won't get a job through me unless you are ready.
What is your phone number?
443-591-2658. And I didn't get a chance to talk about people of influence who are willing and ready to help. The president of LifeBridge Health, which is Sinai, Northwest, Levendale, and they just, recently they bought Bon Secours. They've done everything to help our community. They even took away the high school diploma requirement because they want you to work and provide for your family and then work on your high school diploma. It's called Earn While You Learn. So, you can't say that they're not people putting things in place, but you have to want more, and you have to be willing to make sure that you do what you have to do to bring success to your family. I went from being worst to first, and it was because of my approach to work. And
Greg, I wanted to speak with Greg, let me talk to you about the need for dads. Is that a part of the solution of making Baltimore better? Dads?
I think I would say yes, because a lot of the dads right now are getting a bad rapport, because you found, we say, since the late 60s, maybe early 70s, that there wasn't a dad in the household. And right now you're finding that when I was growing up in the block of probably 80 homes, that there was only 2 houses out of the 80 houses in my block that there was a father actually in that house. It was mostly your mothers. So I think it's very, very important for the kids to see that they can become something. They can do things. There's certain things that a woman can't teach a man, a young kid. And and that's where that man needs to come into place. That father needs to be there. So don't get me wrong, my mother had to be mother and father, but there were certain things that I went out on the street to get on my own, and it was wrong. They didn't give me the right answers, but like I say, me and my dad had a good rapport, and I would see my dad. But of course, I would have loved it if my father was in that household with me.
But Greg, you have a daughter, a couple of daughters, right?
Yes.
And it's always, as long as I've known you, been important for you to be in their life. Can you talk about that?
Well, my daughters, they mean everything to me. And of course, my wife, she wore 98 of the 100 hats. My 2 hats was to provide and protect my children. And I was always there for them. and to that thing. And see, now, even now, as that dad, they don't have a mother. I'm mommy and daddy now. So the thing is, I have to be there for them when they want to talk to me about women problems, men problems, anything. I got to cut that TV off and listen to them. And this is what I do. It means everything to me. My children is my world. And I'm saying these are the things that how, when you're looking at your children and you're looking at them, they're reflecting off of you. They're looking at you. So that means a lot.
Greg, a lot of your homeboys are fathers to these children in East Baltimore. Do they feel the same way as you, that they have to be there for their children? Or did some of them get caught up?
You find a lot of them that do get caught up. And they get caught up, and it's not until maybe down the road that they figured that they could have done a whole lot more if they were in the kids' lives. But a lot of people, it's a mommy and daddy thing. And with that argument between mommy and daddy, it pushes that kid out. And that kid is not getting, the resources that he needs from both parents. So I have a lot of friends that happened to, and it was just a war between mommy and daddy, and the kid was pushed to the corner.
Lisa, do you see a need for dads to step up even more, or for the dads who are already taking care of their children, being a stepfather to other kids in the community? Any kudos to the dads who we never hear about, because there's this notion Black men don't care about their children, but that's a part of it. There's also child support. There's parental alienation. There are actually women, Lisa, who are pushing these men out of their children's lives.
True. The battle.
Right. Well, let me defend the brothers first. I'm very fortunate that I work with a lot of young men, and they have dreams, and they want to be in their kids' life, but a lot of times when things happen to us, it's our response to the situation. And so if a father is alienated from his children, he's actually responding to negativity that may have come down from the relationship. And so the young men that I meet, they want to be in their kids' lives, but they succumb to the negativity and to the pressure, and it has a way of backing them up, almost backing them up to being underground, because that's their response. And so what I do is I highlight them and I edify them and I uplift them, because no matter what, a woman is never going to be a man. And so we as women, we need to edify and uplift them and encourage them and tell them more of what they're doing right.
What I'm saying, Lisa, a lot of women have exploited this system to essentially bring the courts into this man's life unnecessarily. He might have moved on and found a new family.
Right.
Or he may have decided he doesn't want to deal with this woman anymore. Mm-hmm. But at the end of the day, let me just finish. This woman is spitting venom into the child's ear. Mm-hmm. Your father ain't SHIT. And so hurt people hurt people. Right. And a lot of people who didn't have a dad in their life cannot appreciate the need for a dad in their children's lives or their grandchildren's lives. Simply because they had a fractured relationship in their own life. Hurt people hurt people. Your thoughts?
But remember, every action is because of a response, right? So if someone is
Lisa, some people just downright cruddy.
Hey, that's a response. That's a response. That's a response.
No, this is why, Lisa, this is why I say that. I know some women who the father of their children ain't SHIT, but they would never say a negative word about that man to that child. You know the thing? Your father ain't SHIT, your uncles ain't none of them SHIT. No, baby, you ain't SHIT because you laid with him.
Well, one of the things that I teach my students, I have a lot of couples that take my class because I encourage when young women sign up for my class, I tell them, you know, I call all their boyfriends Cleavon. I say, go get Cleavon, and you know, let's help him so that he can help you. If you're just going to sit and complain about what he can't do, let's bring him in and find out what it is that he needs so he can be more productive and be more engaged. And so one thing that I believe in is that anything can be negotiated. And the bottom line is that I tell my students that if you are hurting from something that happened in 1979, get over it. The bottom line is that you have to find a path to move forward. And just that, you know, putting someone down or not, you know, it's not help one. But remember, everything that you're saying, it's traveling to that child. So that, you know, if you're talking to a 9-year-old little girl about what her dad is, what you're doing is you're muddying the water and muddying the message. And so she's already going to grow up with this persona to disrespect men because of what she's hearing. I tell them, you know, I call it the kitchen table conversations. You need to watch what your kids are hearing at the kitchen table.
Right.
You know, because if they're hearing negativity, it's almost like that, you know, you are condoning it because that's what they're hearing. And so you will always hear me talk about education, 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 education. And I don't mean education just from a book. I mean education from life.
Can't hear you. Can't hear you. Greg, you still with us?
Yeah. Hey, Donnie, do you?
Can't hear you, Lisa. Your microphone. You muted your mic. She muted the mic. Come on,
Hey,
Greg.
Donnie,
Can you hear
Go
me
ahead,
now?
Greg.
do you?
Yeah,
Oh, go
we can
ahead.
hear you, but we can't see you now. Come on, Greg.
Hey, Donnie, do you know when you're and mostly everyone's health policy, they can go and see a therapist at least once or twice a year for free, and most people don't use it. But you find most white people will go in there, they'll spit out everything that they got to relieve all that out of their mind, and they use those 2 visits a year. But we won't use them.
I ain't gonna give white people a pass on mental health because they
Well,
are
I'm not giving anybody a pass. I'm just saying if you got them, just use them.
well, they need maybe 4 or 6 sessions because a lot of the problems in this country come from sick white people
Oh, no question.
who have unhealed issues. When I
Right.
look at slavery and I look at the Trump Republicans or the Confederate cats, you're mad at me. You're mad at the black community because we don't want to be slaves. Are you serious? That's the mentality. Like I have the right to own you. Really? Or they are mad about the Civil War. You lost. Your ancestors lost. It's over. What's the problem? Or they want to keep up Confederate statues. No, dog, you lost. Get out of here.
That's right. The only country who lost the war is still flying that flag.
Greg, how does it what's next for the Legends game?
Well, the next for the Legends game is we're planning on expanding it. And the guy Rick Williams, who was sitting on the staff with me, he passed this summer.
Oh.
So what I'm trying to do is something this winter where we're gonna do Saturday, and then we're gonna do maybe 3 games Sunday to try to expand it. So no, it's gonna be, we got a lot of tricks up our sleeves. And of course, you know, the famous Donnie, it doesn't start until you get there, you know that.
No, that's not true. Lisa, his sister at the Legends game, that's over in East Baltimore under the dome. Lisa.
That's it.
She makes a macaroni and cheese that is to die for. I mean, when you taste some macaroni and cheese and the string beans, the fried chicken, it's some smack your mama type stuff. Look, they think I come there for the game. I come there for the food. His sister ain't no joke.
Greg, how can I support your legends? How can I support you?
Now with me, to support me is I need your time. We don't need the money. We're okay because I kind of fund everything on my own. But the thing is, it's the time. If I had you come in and probably talk to the people or give some ideas of how we can make this better, I'll make it work and we can push right on.
Well, it's a captive audience, Lisa, and somebody needs employment. Somebody needs training. I want to go back to the therapy. Where else can we get therapy? And let me just say this: the only difference between getting therapy from a therapist and therapy from a friend is the confidentiality agreement. Correct?
Right.
Lisa?
That's part of it.
I mean, because a good therapist is going to let you get it off your chest and then help you make sense of what happened, right?
Well, not only that, but a therapist gives you tools on how to handle things. One
Like
of the
what?
tools I learned in therapy is before you make a decision about doing something, whether you're going to get angry about something, pretend that the person that you admire the most is standing right there. So would you cuss your boss out if Michelle Obama was standing next to you? Would you cuss your boss out if Nelson Mandela was standing next to you? And that's a very effective tool because it forces you to put the brakes on your response to things. Another thing that I learned about, one of the tools I learned is how to create healthy distractions. One of the reasons why people, will resort to pills and alcohol is because they need a distraction. And so what I've learned is that when I get upset about something, my healthy distraction is to do something nice for someone else because your brain is very, very clever. And so you can redirect your brain from a negative event to a positive event very quickly if you just train yourself. Okay, the next time I get upset, you know what? I'm going to call my sister and I'm going to treat her to lunch. Or I'm going to call my sister and let me speak to my nephew or my niece. And so learning how to self-manage and manage yourself is one of the tools that you can learn in therapy. I remember when I had a son, he was very depressed. And, my therapist told me, she said, get him a puppy. I said, get him a puppy. She said, yeah, he needs a task. He needs something healthy to do. And so that's why I always tell
Did it
people,
work?
no,
Did it work?
about tools.
Did it work?
You need tools on how to get better.
Did it work?
Oh, absolutely it worked and nobody could go near, that puppy. So,
Greg, in the middle of war,
you have to give people, you have to inspire people and give people purpose. So
Greg, in the middle of war, do you have to train your mind the same way to forget about home, to stay focused on the enemy at hand?
Yes, you definitely have to do that because I was working, and in the same week, I was in war throwing lead, and to me it was a dream. But once reality set in, I knew I had to get back home because honestly, you sitting back and you seeing all this killing and all this death, you're thinking if these guys can go, who's right beside me, then I can too. And when that happened, and my mind was already trained that I had to do what I had to do in order to get back home. And that was it.
Well, Greg, have you ever paid attention to what women soldiers go through in a war zone?
Oh, no question. Because they are adhered to the same things we are. Even the doctors, there's secondary post-traumatic stress disorder, where when those guys are coming back to get who are wounded, those nurses are seeing them. And see, it's the same thing as what we're going through with the pandemic. It's going to be a lot of people who going to have mental problems because they're going to have post-traumatic stress disorder. They've seen things that they've never seen before, and their mind has to process it, deal with it, and then when it's over with, then they start thinking about the stuff that they did. Am I lying? Is that right, Lisa?
No, you're absolutely right. Think about it. If you're seeing a cycle of death over and over and over again, and you're holding the hand of somebody who takes their last breath, and you know that their family can't even be with them, that's so much pressure. That's like your brain being in a pressure cooker. And
Right.
so, but you already see it. One of the things that I'm noticing is how many people are leaving healthcare. They're leaving healthcare because of the erosion of them emotionally, and what it's doing to them mentally. And so there's going to be a gap in training and learning, and that's one of the things that I'm doing. I'm looking right now for young ladies who never thought that they could be a nurse, and I'm really encouraging them, and I'm putting them in training, and I'm really letting them know, because you have to retool. We can't do nothing without without the healthcare professionals. And so you are exactly right, Greg. Trauma has no distinction. Trauma for women is the same as trauma for men.
Yes.
It may be even more elevated because women, we are the caregivers. We're the caregivers. We have to care for the children and care for the house, and make sure we have a lot of moving parts. And so I encourage anyone that's in, I don't care if you're a janitor at the hospital, you're seeing something. I don't care if you're a food service worker, you're seeing the stress of a nurse getting in your line. And this is why I really push kindness and empathy and compassion. Because it's a lot of people that are hurting right
now. Man. So, Lisa, I want you to put your information out there one more time. And say your phone number twice for anybody that's looking for your services, and then you too, Greg. And please take a moment to tell everybody what you do. Plus, Lisa, you were shamming on this interview. I thought you was going to touch some other areas, but I'll leave that alone. You're a lot wiser than you pretend.
Say it again, Donnie.
You're a lot wiser. You've been shamming. You've been holding back.
No. No, I haven't. You have to bring me on more often.
Oh. How can people reach you?
Okay, so on social, on IG at Celebrate Us, and my phone number once again is 443-591-2658.
One more time.
And if you're ready for something different, let's end 2020 strong. Let's end 2020 with goals.
Say the phone number again.
443-591-2658.
Good deal. And Greg, how can people get in touch with you? Any suggestions, any tips, anything you want to share?
Yeah, they can call me at 443-790-3736.
One more time.
443-790-3736. They can give me a call on anything dealing with the Legends game or whatever. If they have teams or whatever they want to get in, just let me know and we can do something.
Okay.
Greg, I talk to Offset because one of the things that I believe in is celebrating people. And I want to talk to you. I know that this has been done before a while ago, but I would love to learn more about your Legends game because I want to do something in honor Bob Wade. I think that
that's my dad, right?
Yeah, so so I want to talk to you about that because we had these, there are a lot of people that weren't just coaches; they were fathers. They
Right.
were, they were therapists themselves, and so, and
Exactly.
I always wanted to do something to honor him, and so I definitely want to talk to you about that.
Give me a call. Yeah, I'm
Okay.
on board. Give me a call.
You don't know what you just did, Lisa. You just
Hey,
don't know what you just
you see the
did.
smile on my face, don't you?
No,
I'm on board.
no, it's something I've been wanting to do for a while, and like I said, even Doc Walker in DC, he even told me, Lisa, when you're ready to do this, I'm on board because it's long overdue, and
Definitely.
so
Well, you need to know that Greg has been a part of a few celebrations for Bob Wade, and he was one of the
yeah, I
principal
know it's
organizers
done.
of it.
I know it's been done, but I just have so much respect and so much love for the people that he has elevated and uplifted and trained and taught. And so I know it's been done, but I definitely want to do something like that.
Well, you talking to the right guy. Did you get his number?
I'm gonna get it from you when we log off.
Well, he just gave it to you. One more time, Greg.
You see how he treat me, Greg? You
Yeah, I
how
see how he
that's
treats you.
big
She
brother.
want to take
That's
over
why
the show, and then she gonna put me to work as a secretary. Stop playing.
Ah,
What's your number, Greg?
it's 443
okay.
790
Uh-huh.
3736.
I got it.
And you got to go over there with him to see Cynthia Brooks at the B. Gaddy Center. We can't forget our good friend over there, feeding people, helping people get jobs, keeping the lights on. And let's not forget Leon Purnell at the Men's Center, 2222 Jefferson Street, the Men and Family Center.
Yes.
Both of these institutions have been serving the people of East Baltimore for quite some time.
Definitely.
Special thank you to all of the people that tuned in. Teresa Davis, Be More Bigfoot. They love you, Lisa. And Andy Havas. Hello, Andy. I think Andy is in Hungary. So we got a worldwide audience here.
Nice.
Thank you both for joining us. We do this on a regular basis, 10 a.m. So you got more information, just give me a call and we'll bring you back. Lisa, thank you for
so
all
much.
you do. G Money, thank you for your support.
Nice shout out to TD Productions.
Good stuff. Thank you for joining us here today. My name is Donnie Glover. And do check out BmoreNews.com, the news before the news, where we uncover the truth. Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.